Module 3, the Personal Fall Arrest System. The Personal Fall Arrest System is comprised of three components that are called the ABCs of fall protection. A stands for the anchorage point. B is for bodywear that is worn by the worker. And C stands for the connecting device that links the worker to his or her anchor. The place that we will start is with A, the anchorage point. This is the solid object that the worker will connect to in order to support their weight and fall forces during the arrest phase of the fall. Because forces can be very high, much more than just the body weight of the person, whatever is selected, be it a steel I-beam, a concrete column, or in some cases, a large roof truss, must be substantial. OSHA states that an anchor must be able to support a static load of at least 5,000 pounds per attached worker. We will call this option A. And while this may seem like much more than will be needed, know that a typical worker between 130 and 310 pounds could easily create 10 times their weight in a drop of only a few feet. To find the proper anchor, imagine hanging a full-size truck from the structure that you intend on connecting to. If you believe in your mind that the truck would break your anchor, then you must either find another one or have it further analyzed for strength. If you think the structure would hold, however, it is what we call a non-certified anchor, since it hasn't been verified by an engineer. Option B comes into play when the strength of the anchor is in question, and there just isn't anything else around to which to attach. In this case, the qualified person needs to get involved. Here, the regulation says that the anchor point must have a safety factor of at least 2, meaning that at a minimum, it must be able to support at least 2 times the force of the expected fall. The engineer will analyze how much this needs to be based on your situation and the equipment you are using. This is what is called a certified anchor, as it has been analyzed for strength by an expert. Since your lanyard or self-retracting lifeline often is not made for connecting directly to the anchor themselves, you will need what is known as an anchorage connector to do the job. One of 2 varieties of anchorage connectors must be used. Either those that are temporarily affixed, meaning that they will only be installed while the work is going on, or those that are permanently affixed, meaning that they will stay in place at all times, ready for use when needed. Temporary anchorage connectors come in many shapes and sizes, depending on the anchorage type for which they were designed. Here we see an anchorage connector strap. This red and yellow strap will be wrapped around the beam, with its one end that has a slightly smaller ring being passed through the bigger ring on the other end for what is known as a choke configuration. The beam clamp that is shown here is designed specifically for connecting to the flange of a horizontal I-beam. It has 2 moving jaws that are adjustable to fit different size flanges. It is also designed as a sliding connector, meaning that it is connected in a way that it is tight enough that it will hold in a fall, but loose enough that it can slide on the beam as the worker moves. Here we see a reusable roof anchor that is designed for use either with screws or nails to temporarily go through the rooftop structure into its support beams below. Finally, for situations where there is only concrete, such as a bridge, dam, or many older buildings, there are removable concrete anchorage connectors. These devices, which get their inspiration from mountaineering equipment for rocks, are used with a cam-type wedge on their end to lock into the concrete for suitable strength. Just as there is a variety of temporary anchorage connectors, there are also many that are permanent. Here are attachable D-bolts that use 1 or more bolts integrated with a ring that can be attached and left at the structure. The next connector here is the permanent version of the roof anchor. It comes with flashing around its top that can be used to make a waterproof seal so that can be left on the roof. Another option is anchorage connectors that can be welded into place. Here, the weld must be certified, but once installed, it truly can be considered to be a new permanent part of the structure that now accepts fall arrest equipment. Lastly, one more recent option on the connector device scene is a roof post of sort, seen here. These give fall arrest connection options to the top of roofs where maybe no connection points existed previously. A couple closing remarks on anchorage points have to do with their location and the need to plan for rescue. The first important note is that a proper anchor needs to be above the height of the worker's shoulders. Although there is equipment designed for connection to points lower down to the ground, most equipment is not. As a general rule, keep your anchor point elevated. Another important point is that the best anchor is one that is directly above you. In a fall where the anchor is too far to the side, you will swing back towards this point in the case of a fall. The issue here is that the swinging worker can hit structures beside them with enough force to cause significant injury. The second issue to consider is that of rescue. The first question to ask is how fast, according to OSHA, is fast enough? The answer is that OSHA simply calls for a prompt rescue without going into significant detail about what this means. They want the fallen worker to be brought down in enough time that further injury does not result from an increased period of suspension. The risk as discussed earlier, is called suspension trauma. If not rescued quickly enough, with the recommendation typically being within 15 minutes, oxygen flow to the brain could stop, causing fainting and death soon thereafter. The proper time to plan for rescue is before it is ever needed, and if a good plan cannot be developed, the work should not begin until a resolution has been found. Having discussed the anchor, we will now turn our attention to the middle part of the fall arrest daisy chain, body wear. The full body harness is the part of the personal fall arrest system that holds the person during the fall. It is a collection of straps that have been sewn together to catch the worker's weight in a way that will not be harmful to them during fall arrest. But it will only work if it is used properly. If straps are left undone, or if it is worn too loosely, it could be possible to fall out. Body wear is not one size fits all. As in the case with other safety garments, harnesses have various sizes that range from extra small and standard to extra large and super extra large. The sizing chart for one style of MSA's harnesses is shown here to illustrate that fitting is based on the height of the wearer and their weight. To size yourself, find your height on the left and then scan across the bottom until you find your weight. Where those two lines come together is your size. Here we will briefly go through a basic introduction of the full body harness so that you know its parts during your pre-use inspection, a requirement by OSHA every time before use. The most prominent part of the harness is all of its webbing. The shoulder straps comprise the top of a harness. You should start on either the front of the harness or its back and slowly work your way to the opposite side, running the webbing through your hands to feel and look for any cuts, tears, frays, abrasions across the webbing, holes, burns, or areas of permanent discoloration where contact with a degrading chemical or daily exposure to the sun has caused the color to fade. In any of these cases, if damage is found, the harness is no longer considered to be safe for use and must be removed from service. In any case of damage discussed here, the proper way to dispose of a harness is to destroy it by cutting it into pieces to be thrown away. Next comes the webbing that covers your torso. This web holds the buckle that keeps your shoulder straps firmly in place so that in a head-first fall, you will stay in the harness. Moving towards the bottom of the harness, next come the thigh straps that go around both legs. As you work your way around each side, you will be checking for the same types of damage as before. On the back side of the harness, under the buttocks, is the subpelvic strap. This also shall be checked for any damage of the type just described. During your inspection, most likely on the back of the harness on the shoulder straps, you will come across either one or two areas where the webbing is sewn over itself with a single line stitch. This small stitch is designed to break open, letting the webbing straighten out if the harness is involved in a fall or shock loaded in any way. A deployed load indicator lets you know that the harness has been stressed in such an event and must be destroyed. As you pass over the webbing, you will have noticed stitch patterns with an outer box and a honeycomb or X pattern on the inside. As you inspect the stitching, you will see that it is sewn in contrasting color to the webbing so that it is easier to inspect for any breaks, areas where thread is missing, or spots where the pieces of webbing that is designed to hold together are coming apart. Any type of this damage will cause the harness to fail its overall inspection. The stitching is very important, as it holds together all of the load-bearing elements of the harness into the comfortable fitting, strong system of straps and buckles. Another feature that you will notice during your inspection of the harness is its prominent tag. On MSA harnesses, it will be enclosed within an outer cloth wrap or within an insert of the back pad, often with the size of the harness on a rubber tab at its top. When open, you will find important information about the harness, including when it was manufactured, what material was used, and what job it is designed for. As you scan through the tag, it must be completely present and legible. If any of the tag is damaged, missing, or not possible to read, the harness should be destroyed. The final major piece of the body harness is all of its metal pieces, which will be referred to here as hardware. This includes any pieces that are used as a connection point for the harness. This includes all D-rings that are found at different points, providing a means of connecting onto it. The principal ring is the one that gets positioned between your back shoulder blades. Other hardware that you will find serves as connection between straps to secure the harness. An example is what is known as a quick connect, similar to the buckles that you would find in a car. Finally, the hardware that you see may be an adjuster that is used to lengthen or shorten webbing to loosen or snug up the harness. This is called a friction buckle. The rules for inspecting hardware are fairly basic. Here we are looking for such things as corrosion in the form of red rust, pitting, which are holes where corrosion has burrowed into the metal, cracks, breaks, or bends of the metal from its original shape. Now that both A and B have been discussed, it's time to talk about the most complex part of your personal fall arrest system, the connecting device. The two main styles of connectors are the energy-absorbing lanyard and the self-retracting lifeline. The most basic type of connecting device is the energy absorbing lanyard. This is a length of webbing that incorporates two snap hooks, one that goes to the anchor and one that connects to your harness, as well as an energy absorber, which will work as your fall arrest brake. There are two common sizes of snap hooks, one with a small 3/4 inch opening, which is the norm and is what is seen on the lanyard in this example, as well as a larger 2.5 inch opening rebar hook that is designed for connecting into larger anchor objects. Regardless of the style that is on your lanyard, and whether it is made of galvanized steel, stainless steel, or aluminum, its strength is very important. While all these materials exist as connector types for lanyards, and have the necessary rated strength of 5,000 pounds, the part that opens on the front, known as the gate, must be reinforced to ensure that it cannot break if it is accidentally contacted in a fall. Since 2007, the American National Standards Institute, ANSI, has called for specialized reinforced gates that guarantee a strength of at least 3,600 pounds. You should check your equipment to make sure the gate has this rating stamped on it as 3,600 pounds, 3.6K, or something similar. In the case of MSA, the energy absorber typically looks like a stack of bunched up webbing inside of a clear plastic casing with labels. To discuss what an energy absorber is for, we must briefly talk about the two parts of a fall. Initially, you will go into free fall. This happens while the slack in your lanyard is taken out and your body picks up speed as you accelerate downward. You want to limit free fall. Anchorage points at shoulder height or higher will keep the free fall to 6 feet or less, which complies with the use specification of ANSI white label lanyards. Go any lower than that, and you will need a special ANSI black label lanyard. Once your lanyard has been straightened out, it will start to catch you. At the moment that it first becomes taut, the energy absorber pack will open and allow the tear tape that is inside to start to work. At this point, you have entered the deceleration phase of the fall. As this happens, two pieces of webbing inside the pack that are interwoven will start to separate with enough resistance to counteract your speed and bring you to a stop. A white label lanyard will stop you in no more than 4 feet, while a black label one takes 5. A second type of connector is what is known as a self-retracting lifeline, or SRL. Once again, here you have a device that has connectors on two ends, one being for the anchorage point and the other one for the back D-ring of your harness. Instead of a fixed length device, all of the webbing or cable is contained on a drum to only give you the line that you need. The way an SRL operates is just like your car's seatbelt. When you're attached to one end, it will allow line to pull out until you get to the full length, which could be anywhere between 6 and 200 feet. Also like a seatbelt, it will pull any unused line back into the housing to keep any slack out of the system. If you fall when you are attached, the line will briefly start to come out of the bottom of the unit until very quickly brakes on the inside engage and start to stop you. The major benefit of one of these over a lanyard is that because they always keep as short as possible and because they are so fast acting, they can stop you much faster than a lanyard ever will. The difference could be a 4.5 foot stop or less with one of these versus 10 feet with a standard lanyard. These also come in two categories: large self-retracting lifelines that are meant to hang overhead, and smaller personal fall limiters, PFLs for short, that you can take and wear with you wherever you go. Just like there are big and small versions of self-retracting lifelines, there are ones that can do different things. One style of SRL, designated by ANSI as a Class A, is designed to stop your fall in no more than 2 feet or 24 inches after the fall starts. The benefit here is a quicker stop. Class B SRLs will take as much as 4.5 feet or 54 inches to stop you, but these are the most common style that you will likely see. One final quick note is that while there are some SRLs and PFLs that do allow connection near the feet, a major concern involves what will happen when your line, be it webbing or cable, goes over the edge with you. If it is a sharp enough bend, there is a real possibility that your line could be cut. This is where specialty SRLs and PFLs for what is known as leading edge come into play. These devices have an additional energy absorber built into the end of the line that will go over the edge with the fall victim and open to protect the line. Increased free fall with connection near the ground level and passing over the edge of a platform are both okay and in fact what the unit was designed to do. We've now seen and discussed the three parts of the personal fall arrest system.